If mind reading really exists, we could have a real-life Professor X on our hands. Welcome back, everyone, to, of course, the Glog, the show where we take a little bit of a vlog, a lot of bit of God, and make it into a channel and videos that you can ask questions, and we will try to answer them. And today's question comes from Jaden, from Jaden's videos, and that question is, can God hear our thoughts? This is a pretty interesting question, and before we get started, the answer is, of course, yes. Now, this isn't some sort of David Copperfield kind of trying to read our thoughts kind of thing, because humans can't really read thoughts. We can't read thoughts, but God can. And it's really interesting because not only can God know our thoughts, God, of course, as we've covered in videos before this, knows everything. But if you don't believe me, there's a Bible verse popping up right now that God can actually discover our thoughts, and He knows our mind, which is really interesting to know. We also have to guard our mind. And I'll give you a really good example that I heard from a pastor that came into our church, into my school, excuse me. And that is that if you guard your mind kind of like rocks on top of a waterfall, you know how there's rocks before the water overflows? Well, if you keep all of those rocks clean, if you keep your mind clean and pure, the water that spills over them will also be clean and pure. So that way the rest of your life will be clean because your thoughts are clean. And God knows those thoughts. We also can know that our thoughts can also lead us into bad things. When we think about bad and evil things, that can eventually become sin, and that's something that we don't want to do. Of course, there are also intrusive thoughts that just kind of pop in there, that kind of intrude into our mind, and we want to get those out of our head, and God can always help us with those. God also doesn't just look at what we say or what we act like. He looks at our desires from our heart. And that is something incredible that God can do, because people will just judge you or look at you and assume a certain thing by what you say or how you act, but God actually looks at your heart. So you can be doing something, but if your heart and your thoughts are not in the right place, it can still be wrong. So, for example, if you go to, I don't know, let's say a soup kitchen or something, and you're helping out people, but your thoughts aren't about helping those people, your thoughts are just about what you get out of it, then you're not really doing the experience for God. But if your thoughts are in helping other people, that really can change the way you are acting in the community or wherever you are. So yes, our thoughts are very important. They start every other action that we do. And as I mentioned before, if we keep our thoughts clean like the rocks on top of a waterfall, the rest of our life will be a much better place. And God does know those thoughts, and He will help us to guide those thoughts to where we want them to be. So Jaden, I hope that answered your question. I know I kind of went more in depth than just scraping the top of the barrel, bottom of the barrel. But yes, God does know our thoughts, and He is going to help us control them. Thank you for watching, everyone, and remember, as always, to subscribe to the Glog. Also have to remember that blabbing on.